Hello and welcome, and today we are going to learn how to retrieve the column and row values when we double click on a data grid. So that means when I double click on this data grid, I can be able to retrieve the column value for ID or first name and even the row that I've been able to click. So it's a very simple. Here I've got my data grid, and it's called the contacts data grid. And I will look for an event called the double click event. Here it is, and I will double click on that to expose the code view. This is the double click events for my contacts data grid. And what I will do to retrieve the row, I will create a variable named the row, which will be as integer, and I will assign it the value from the row that I will double click. And how I do that, I will say contacts grid dot current row dot index. This will give me the index of the row that I have double click. The contacts grid is the name of my DataGrid view. As you can see, I have selected it here. So this will give me the row that it's currently selected or that has been clicked. And when I want to retrieve a value from the columns, it's also very simple, and that is actually what we are going to do. So I will say dim data as a string, then I will say data grid, contacts grid, then I will when I want to retrieve maybe the ID from the contacts grid, I will say column 0. Then I will also specify the row, which is this row, the index value. Then I will say dot value. So I will just display a message box to tell me what data that I have. So I will say you have clicked row number, then I will say row and column value is, then I will say data. So what we need to do is that to know that the row and the columns are zero based indexes, and it's very important to take note of that. So I will run my project, and you will see that immediately I double click on, let's say, row 1, it will tell me I've clicked on row number 0 and column value is 1. If I click, I say OK, then I double click on, it will say that I clicked on row number 2 and the column value for the ID is 3. And you can see that when I change this information, maybe for the data, I say I want maybe the value for the last name, which we say that it is 0 based, so that means it will be number 2, so column 2, and I will save my project and I will run my project, and we'll see that whenever we double click on any row, information will have changed. So when I double click, says you've clicked on row 2 and the last name is Johnson's. If I click on it will say that the last name, the column value is Winfrey. So basically that's how we retrieve information from the DataGrid view through double clicking. Thank you and see you again.